It's great to be in Sausalito. I haven't been here in decades. It's so beautiful here. I am going to read the beginning of a story out of this linked collection. At the backdrop of the collection, there is the plane crash that happened 30 years ago. It really did happen in San Diego. And it's kind of at the backdrop of all the stories, but they're not really about that. There are characters going in and out of each other's stories. And there is actually humor in it, despite the airplane crash. I'm going to read the beginning of a story called Rocks. Everything is red. Giant rock formations inflame the town. Russet pebbles live naturally by the side of the road. Maroon homes made of adobe seem carved out of the pinnacles instead of built new. The rust is ore, the mark of a small ocean from millions of years ago, the formations from ancient earthquakes. Lolly is drawn to and repelled by the passionate cyanas, the rosy salmons, the oppressive pink grays, the turbulent bronze. Red has bled into the earth, color boundaries ignored, out of control. What if Roy finds her? Ready for your maiden voyage, Lolly? The manager says. They're in the tour bus office in downtown Sedona. Visitors perch on wood benches bolted to a cement floor, waiting for the next departure. Lolly perches with them. Blonde with tennis shoes and shorts and not so many years from graduating high school, she's new and antsy, and they have no idea that she will be their tour guide, the one driving. Of course, Lolly says, just a sec. She rushes to the bathroom and spits up into the toilet again. She's spoken in front of people before, so why is she nauseated? Maybe because she lied to get the job? While no expert on Sedona, Arizona, she's long loved the town, visited on family trips when she was a girl, studied it from San Diego, California. Her real name isn't Lolly either. She misses her old apartment in North Park, the plants zealous and blooming in the warm air, the boys' school only a few blocks over, the friendly next-door neighbor Lenora, who teaches continuing ed. Lenora's husband John seemed nice enough as well, though for a while there he was taking a bus every day and seemed to be missing a lot of work. But Lolly could never really get to know the neighbors as much as she'd like to have, no matter how kind Lenora was or how concerned. She seemed to know something was wrong. Getting to know Lenora would have meant explaining to her about Roy. And Roy has made it clear that if she tells anybody about what's going on, including the police, he'll kill not only her, but her parents. All aboard, she says, loud as she can, and climbs the steps onto the bus. Time to get on, sweetheart, man with binoculars and 2 cameras demands, seeming not to have heard her. Too authoritative to even sit. He's been hovering at the bus door since he arrived, leather straps crisscrossing his shirt. Even though she's sponged as many facts as she can on other tours, Lolly can tell this man will ask too many questions, questions she won't know the answers to. Leaning over the enormous steering wheel, she uses shoulder muscle to crank the vehicle onto Highway 89. A red-tailed hawk glides overhead. The town teems with sightseers and tacky baubles. Fake Seguro, tomahawks, overpriced teas. 4 vortexes reside here, though, more than anywhere else in the world. Healing, soothing vortexes. Lolly meets them in the worst way. To our left, she says into the mic, the rattling chassis competing with her voice. That's a butte. Isn't that how you say butte? Yeah, sure. The tall, narrow hill flat on top. Over there, that's a mesa. It has a flat top too, but it's wider and lower. Rocks teeter from the sides of the road. They'd be on the asphalt too if humans didn't constantly prod them back. She's one step ahead. Her boys, Brad and Thomas, are 5 and 7 and safely in school in Cottonwood, the next town over. She's put 500 miles between herself and Roy now, which should be plenty, except for Roy being Roy. The binocular man bends at the knee, peers out the windshield over her shoulder, adobe architecture fleeing past on the right and the left. So tell me, young lady, how do people afford to live here? I'll get to that soon. She hopes he hasn't figured out she's a beginner. She needs to draw a line to protect herself from him, something she's no good at. In 1950, the first telephone arrived in Sedona, she announces on the microphone. A public restroom followed in 1980. She watches in the rear view as tourists grin. There, she points, if you look carefully, you'll see the Snoopy formation, nose and feet up like he's lying on top of his doghouse, Woodstock on his belly. The illusion seems disrespectful of the area's spirituality, but it's part of the spiel. She lets the group out to photograph Teapot Rock while she explains the century plant, an agave that blooms yellow flowers with sharp tips. Hummingbirds nest in the pod, thorns deterring predators, hurting those who get too close to their chicks. All she keeps seeing, though, is that red spot on the Navajo white wall back home in North Park, the one against which Roy heaved their oldest this time, the boy's soft forehead making a terrible cracking sound on the hard surface. She cannot allow that to happen again. The last time, when she simply ran to her parents, Roy came over and threatened to hurt them, so she had to go more miles this time. When no one's looking, she slips behind a manzanita and vomits. The tourists feed themselves back onto the bus in an orderly manner, and soon they're bouncing against dusty ruts again, while she mimics the old-timer tour guides. We like to say that God may have created the Grand Canyon, but he lives in Sedona. She sticks her elbow out the window, drives with one hand. She could get used to this tour guide thing, driving around, showing people the beauty of the desert. She pulls over a second time. Over to the right, you can see a formation of Badana and Child. She's awestruck every time she sees the vivid limestone, mother protecting her baby from the elements. Howling winds and ancient oceans have gnawed away at the rock to create her. Trees and cactus grow straight out of rocks in Sedona. If that's the only way they can survive, that's what they'll do. And I'm going to stop there.